The Addams Family has at least 3 traits that paved the secrets to their longevity, enabling them to stand the test of time.
Frame shifting and frame blending. The Netflix series Wednesday is literally littered with dark humor under these 2 forms.
Humor is used mainly to overcome socio-cultural inhibitions and reveal suppressed desires.
Ever since the Addams Family-based show, Wednesday, landed on Netflix streaming platform, it's taken the world by storm. According to figures released by Nielsen, a global leader in audience insights, data and analytics, Wednesday clocked a total watch time of 6 billion minutes, between November 21 and 27. On closer scrutiny, this feat was achieved in just 5 days, considering that the show premiered on November 23, 2 days after the measurement started. Wednesday smashes records, and climbed its way to the second most viewed Netflix series ever. It only ranks behind the 4th season of The Duff Brothers' Stranger Things, which garnered 7.2 billion viewed minutes. Wednesday is the daughter of Gomez and Morticia Addams, in a fictional family created by Charles Addams in 1938. The Addams Family started as a series of unrelated single-panel cartoon, published in The New Yorker. Charles Addams was first inspired by his hometown of Westfield, New Jersey, an area full of ornate Victorian mansions and archaic graveyards. In the original comics series, the Addams family live in a Gothic house on Cemetery Ridge. From this humble beginning, the family have since been adapted to other media, such as television, film, video games, comic books, a musical, and merchandise. Fast forward more than 80 years later to the present, the family still appeals strongly to its audience. The Addams Family has at least 3 traits that paved the secrets to their longevity, enabling them to stand the test of time. 1. Nothing distinctively reflects the Addams Family with the era of time. Their dress sense is just black and white, the classic colors that are rarely out of fashion across time. They don't speak in any lingo that correlates to any phase in history. They never really had jobs in the first place. Nothing about the Addams Family was dated. They are timeless and can fit into any timeline. 2. Their whole shtick is that they are a family of weirdos and are a satirical inversion of the ideal post-war American middle-class nuclear family. Yet the family has a cheery disposition and a healthy family life. That concept is so strong, that any writer or filmmaker can place the Addams Family in any decade, and the jokes and characters still work. 3. Dark humor. The original creation by Charles Addams drenched the family in a culture for the love of macabre. The Addams Family are seemingly unaware or unconcerned that other people find them bizarre or frightening. Dark humor is in every word the family speaks, and this is clearly adapted into all the different media productions, including TV series, films and now, streaming platforms. Let's take a closer look at the role of dark humor and how it propelled the Addams Family straight into the hearts of its audience.
Dark humor, also known as black comedy, morbid humor, or gallows humor, is a style of comedy that makes light of subject matter that is generally considered taboo, particularly subjects that are normally considered serious or painful to discuss. Writers and comedians often use it as a tool for exploring vulgar issues by provoking discomfort, serious thought, and amusement for their audience. Popular themes of the genre include death, crime, poverty, suicide, war, violence, terrorism, discrimination, disease, racism, sexism, and human sexuality. Though there can be many ways, dark humor can generally be engineered under these 2 forms: frame shifting and frame blending. The Netflix series Wednesday is literally littered with dark humor under these 2 forms. Here is one example of the first form, frame shifting.
Nevermore is like no other boarding school. It's a magical place. It's where I met your mother. And we fell in love.
You guys are making me nauseous.
Not in a good way.
Darling, we aren't the ones who got you expelled. That boy's family was going to file attempted murder charges. How would that have looked on your record?
Terrible. Everyone would know I failed to get the job done.
Let's clarify the storyline before coming to this scene. The Addams family were on their way to Nevermore, the very school Gomez and Morticia had attended during their younger days. Gomez and Morticia had no choice but to switch school for Wednesday. This is because Wednesday, in her rage to punish the school's water polo team for bullying her brother, Pugsley, released a shoal of piranhas into the pool where the boys were training, resulting to the captain of the team losing one of his testicles to the fishes. That boy's family was going to file attempted murder charges on Wednesday. Morticia continued and asked, "How would that have looked on your records?" At this point, the frame was set up with two parents solemnly questioning the brutal actions of their daughter, and bringing out the seriousness of the consequences. Everyone would be expecting some forms of self-reflection and remorse from the child for the carnage she had left behind. Instead, Wednesday replied, "Terrible. Everyone would know that I failed to get the job done." From the existing frame of remorse and self-reflection, this was abruptly shifted in the exact opposite direction. Wednesday declared that her only regret was that she did not complete the murder, leaving a stain of failure in her records. This sudden shift of frames creates an element of surprise and accentuates the incongruity to the situation. Humor lies within the moment when the audience realizes the incongruity of the expected outcome versus the actual outcome. And then, there is the second form: frame blending.
What's a Nevermore freak doing out in the wild?
This is our booth.
Why are you three just like religious fanatics?
We're pilgrims.
Potato, potato.
We work at Pilgrim World.
It takes a special kind of stupid to devote an entire theme park to zealots responsible for mass genocide.
My dad owns Pilgrim World. Who you calling stupid?
If the buckled shoe fits.
Wednesday referred the Pilgrims theme as stupid. Lucas rebutted that his father, Mayor Noble Walker, owned Pilgrim's World. So, calling the theme stupid was tantamount of calling his father stupid. Here, the frame of accusations was set up, with Wednesday inciting some offensive remarks. In a sleek reply, Wednesday blended into the frame that Lucas had set up to give the unexpected. If the buckled shoe fits. In US context, the phrase "if the shoe fits" is used to say that if something said or suggested about a person is true, then that person should accept it as the truth. Again, the elements of surprise and incongruity provided the conditions to trigger humor. In addition, for the second case, you can also read the humor in the joke through the historical context of the Pilgrims. Pilgrims referred to some 100 passengers who set sail on the Mayflower in 1620 from England to start a life in the New World. They landed in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and settled the first colony in New England, shaping the future of the American colonies. To Christian conservatives, they were role models for another reason. They were deeply committed to their Christian faith and not afraid to say so. This is why Wednesday described them as zealots. Unfortunately, their first winter in America was brutal. Most of the Pilgrims remained on board the ship, where they suffered from exposure, scurvy, and outbreaks of contagious disease. A Native American, Squanto, member of the Pawtuxet tribe taught the Pilgrims how to cultivate corn, extract sap from maple trees, catch fish in the rivers, and avoid poisonous plants. The tribe also offered them food and clothing necessities to help them tide through the cold winter. The following year, the Pilgrims' first corn harvest proved successful through Squanto's help, and a celebratory feast was organized. The Native Americans were invited, now remembered as Americans' first Thanksgiving. However, the story took a cynical turn when the Pilgrims eventually turned on the Native Americans, murdering and seizing the land from them over the next few decades. In fact, by the time European colonists arrived in the 15th century, scholars estimate that more than 50 million people were already living in the Americas. Today, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, only about 4.5 million Native Americans and Alaska Natives are left. More than 90% of the Native American lost their lives. This was the reason why Wednesday described this as a genocide. Pilgrims going to a brave new world encountered hardships saved by natives, but in return, the natives were killed. Another incongruity. Triggering humor? Well, that's why it's called dark humor. So, for the second case, that's a joke within a joke, multi-layered. The audience could find humor at either the frame blending or the incongruity as a result of historical events, or both.
If you are interested to find out about the psychology of fear, type fear in the commentaries below. I will make a video on this topic if there are enough requests. Dark humor, by itself, is a paradox. Often people asked if they are allowed to laugh or simply felt the guilt. Comedy always grabs onto threatening or tragic incidents to draw attention to the jokes, and ends up being very successful. This is often viewed as a method to navigate through the absurdness of reality with dark humor, and we end up laughing at things that are horrible. This leads us to the release theory. Quoting directly from Wikipedia, relief theory maintains that laughter is a homeostatic mechanism, by which psychological tension is reduced. Humor may thus, for example, serve to facilitate relief of the tension caused by one's fears. Laughter and mirth, according to relief theory, result from this release of nervous energy. Humor is used mainly to overcome socio-cultural inhibitions and reveal suppressed desires. It is believed that this is the reason we laugh whilst being tickled, due to a buildup of tension as the tickler strikes. It is also noteworthy to mention that the humor in dark comedy can be a fine balance. Overemphasis on awkward or sensitive topics may result to its loss. Just like the situation when the tickler strikes too hard. Researches have even been conducted to test the correlations between sense of humor and intellect. In an experiment led by psychologist Ulrich Willinger, 156 male and female participants read 12 bleak cartoons, from the Black Book by German cartoonist Uli Stein. Participants would then indicate whether they understood each joke, and whether they found it funny. Some basic IQ tests were then followed. They also answered questionnaires about their moods, aggressive tendencies, and educational background. The results were remarkably consistent. Participants who both comprehended and enjoyed the dark humor jokes showed higher IQs. They also reported less aggressive tendencies than those who did not. Incidentally, the participants who least liked the humor showed the highest levels of aggression and the worst moods of the bunch. The latter point makes sense when you consider the widely studied health benefits of laughter and smiling. If you aren't able to greet negativity with playful optimism, of course you will feel worse.